Hi, welcome to the program. I'm Wally Conway. I'm broadcasting to you here from the Home Pro Inspections World Headquarters in Jacksonville, Florida. For those of you in Jacksonville, I may have known, may have a relationship, may have done business with. Pleasure seeing you here. And for those of you I have not yet met, I'm grateful for the opportunity to meet you. Well, philanthropy. Why in the world would we be speaking about something like philanthropy right here in the middle of this business disruption from COVID-19? Well, it's more important than it's ever been. If you've got a bit of a slide in your personal income, a bit of a slide in your business income, imagine what that's like for the nonprofits in your community, and imagine what that may be like for the beneficiaries of the good that that nonprofit does. So the program I'm about to deliver to you was not created recently or for the purpose of COVID-19. It's just especially poignant now that we have so many people struggling in so many ways, and so many of the organizations, the safety nets that were in place to help people, are struggling too. So what qualifies me to speak to you about strategic philanthropy, and how did this program come to be? I was not born a philanthropist. I did not grow up in a wealthy family. In fact, I grew up in Camden, New Jersey. My family was not a giving family. They didn't take anything. They didn't give anything. For me, growing up, philanthropy was something that wealthy people did, and I didn't understand how they did it or why they did it or who they did it for. It just was not on my radar. About 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to be invited into a business development and mastermind program in Austin, Texas. It was put together by Gary Keller and his team at Keller Williams. And I got very involved in their mindset and the creative things they were doing, not only to build business, but also to give back into the community. Well, shortly after that began, I found myself as one of their business development coaches, and we had a mastermind group put together in Austin. We had about 40 business owners of all different types of businesses from all over the country gathered at the KW World Headquarters in Austin in their nice big conference room, spent 2.5 days about business development. A piece on the agenda was going to be presented by Jay Papasan. Many of you know Jay as the co-author with Gary Keller on numerous best-selling books. And Jay was going to do 90 minutes on philanthropy. And I must say, I was very excited about the entire agenda on business development, very excited about the speakers. I was not excited or frankly looking toward spending an hour and a half on philanthropy. That just was not in my universe. But I was there and I had nowhere else to go, and I enjoyed and respected all the people there. So I sat quietly and listened to Jay speak about strategic philanthropy. And very early into his presentation, I went, by gracious, I too am a philanthropist. And I'm an amateur philanthropist, a developing and emerging philanthropist, but I could be a philanthropist too. And I got very, very excited, and I went home and I shared with my wife, Tanya, who asked me the question, hey, how things were in Austin, and what's new, what's going to be different? I said, honey, we're philanthropists. And she said, honey, that's marvelous. With whose money? And I said, with the money we're going to earn that will come our way with a mindset of philanthropy. So I shared the story with her, and reluctantly she went along. And it occurred to me that it had taken me about 60 years to get to that point where philanthropy resonated with my mindset and became a part of my personal life and my professional life. It was difficult for me to explain it to my own wife. So I called Jay and said, Jay, I would love it if you would share with me those slides and presentation. I'd like to share that with others. And he said, okie dokie, Wally, you can do that. Know this. What's that? He says, we own this material. This is our material. It is prized material. And we will allow you to use this material under 2 conditions. Okay, Jay, what are the 2 conditions under which I can use the strategic philanthropic materials to spread the word? He said, 1, give full credit to how you got it, where you got it, and where it came from, which I have done. I got it from Jay Keller Williams. He wrote the material. And he said, don't change the material. That he had presented the material, Gary and others within their universe had presented the material, they'd refined it over time, and I could use it if I promised not to mess with it. So the program we are about to deliver, won't take long, we'll be done in well under an hour. I'll deliver it to you in its original way that Jay delivered it to me, that moved me in the hopes that I can move you toward a lifestyle, a mindset, and all the great benefits of philanthropy. There we go. Let me make one small adjustment here so I can see. Okay. So, how to live longer, laugh louder, and leave a legacy using strategic philanthropy. That will be our mission. And something's not happening on my screen here. There we go. Sorry about that. So Jay took the original material from this book, Give and Take by Adam Grant, developed it, refined it, made it his own, and that is what we're delivering to you. But the reference and source material, if you'd like to dig a little deeper, came right out of a revolutionary approach to success. That means your success, and also the nonprofit success by Give and Take with Adam Grant. Why give? Well, as it turns out, the more you give, the more that comes back. And it was really an interesting thing for me. I shared this with my wife, and I will tell you my experience now, almost 5 years into this. I have earned more money personally. My personal income has never been higher since the time I started and developed this mindset of giving. And really what it sits and says is the universe recognizes who you are and what you will do with your wealth and your fortune as you build it. And when you share it, when you distribute it, when you do good things, the universe just fills it right back up again. So each and every year since I've been on this journey, I've personally earned more. I have personally been able to give more, and it's worked out beautifully. So you might even say that philanthropy is just a little bit selfish. Someone might even ask, you know, are you doing good at all? Aren't you just doing this for yourself? And the honest truth of it is, the answer is yes, that it continues to do more for others and it continues to serve me better. Derek Shiver said, if you only master yourself and you don't help anyone else, well, then we'd call you happy. But would one define you as successful? So the very definition of success must include how much you helped others. Bingo, that resonated with me. So the idea is, in the process of that working toward the ever-ending goal of self-mastery, we're also serving others. Each happens collaboratively and a little bit quicker. So why don't we give more? That's a fair and honest question. Well, many of us would sit and say, well, what's the point? You know, look what Bill Gates has given billions, and Warren Buffett did this. And if we look locally in the Jacksonville area, well, the Weaver Foundation is doing this, and Chartrans are doing that. And that is wonderful. But I need you to think of those big gifts from those big foundations of very wealthy individuals as it's kind of pump priming. It's demonstrating. They're actually trying to show us how to do the same thing. And we would ask, well, what's the point? There was a disease that ravaged America in the early 1950s. When I was a young kid, I was just at the end of being a victim of that. And that disease was polio. And the question becomes, how in the world did they eradicate polio? And they did it. They founded a nonprofit that its sole purpose at that particular point was to eradicate polio, and they needed to raise money, and they needed to raise money fast, and they realized it relied on all of us doing a little bit. Do you know the name of that nonprofit? It was the March of Dimes, a dime at a time in 18 months, with dimes from virtually everyone who walked the face of America. They were able to eradicate polio. Mind-boggling. Many of us would say we need to save the money for ourselves and for our family. I was that person. My spouse was that person. And then realizing that virtually every one of us, certainly if you're here with me today, you could give a little bit, and maybe even just a tiny bit more of that. And the universe is going to fill back that in. It's coming from a mindset of abundance, not a mindset of scarcity that sits and says, there's more out there than I could ever hope to own, ever hope to accumulate. And by giving, some of that abundance is going to come my way. That we can't make a difference, we can make a difference. I've demonstrated that to you. March of Dimes was a very simple one. There are many in our communities where people who start out very, very small doing good things, they create a movement, and the next thing it's working right along the way. You don't need to start with large donations. I'll show you some strategies, how your very small donations can be leveraged to do very big things with the various nonprofits in your community. and you've never felt like what it was like to give or receive. I was that same person. I was never the beneficiary, not knowingly, of the beneficiary of any nonprofit. My family took care of us. We didn't have a lot of excess. They didn't give anything away. They didn't take anything. And that's just fine. And that's very honorable. But the minute you take it to a one step higher level and sit and say, I can give something, I can give something. And suddenly it's more and it grows and it's a beautiful thing. The wealthiest 10% of Americans contribute only 25% of all nonprofit dollars. You know what percent of GDP, gross domestic product, is actually in the nonprofit sector in philanthropic giving? It's about 2%. It's about 2%. So about 2% of all earnings end up in a nonprofit. The Bible suggested 10. We've got it as a nation to 2. And quite candidly, that 2 isn't the mean, it's the average. So there are many, many, many who are giving considerably more, and the majority who do pretty close to nothing. What we're looking to do is get a mindset that says, I can do more. Could you imagine if we as a country increased our philanthropic giving by 1%? That would be a 50% increase in all nonprofit dollars. If we got it to 4%, holy smoly. If we got it to 10%, we wouldn't need the government to give us anything, right? We would be caring to each other's all in our communities. So give $1 million, think big and start small. The first and foremost thing we can give is our gratitude. You know, in the COVID-19 challenges that we have, there's so many people we can give gratitude to. We can thank the first responders. We can thank the healthcare workers. Just say, I am so grateful for you. I am so grateful for what you're doing in the community. I'm so grateful for what you're doing to protect my family. We can drill that down to a very personal level to a particular nonprofit, a person you've seen do something in the community who's working in the soup line or donating small dollars or selling things ready money. Just say, I see you, I appreciate you, I respect you. I am grateful for what you're doing in the community. And that is totally free. And we can do that a boundless number of times. Next is give your time. Many of us have discovered during the COVID-19, we have more time than we knew what to do with. We may have extra people in our household who have more time than they know what to do with. What a great opportunity to begin a philanthropic mindset, a giving and charitable mindset, especially in a time of need, right? Whether it's our own need or the needs of others. And I got to tell you, when you're in need and yet you still find a place to give, abundance comes your way much quicker. Give of your time. Give of your money. It doesn't need to start large. It just needs a little, maybe just a little bit more than we're presently doing. Stretch a little bit. We all talk in our goal setting in our businesses, sometimes in our personal lives, about our stretch goals. Give just a little bit more time, a little bit more money, a little bit more gratitude. Give of your leadership. You know, so many of us are in leadership positions in our businesses or leadership positions in our family. I will tell you, one of the things that I observed early on when I got this philanthropic mindset was the vast majority of nonprofits are started by and run by fantastic people who have absolutely no business savvy. I've watched a lot of people walk away from nonprofits because they got frustrated that they were so poorly run. Not that they weren't doing great work, not that their heart wasn't in a wonderful place, not that they weren't needed in the community, but a person like me or a person like you said, if I ran my business the way you run this nonprofit, I wouldn't have a business. Well, guess what, friends? That nonprofit, that person who's running it, that person who is there, they need your leadership desperately. It is honest to say that the vast majority of us running small businesses, even if it's a one-person real estate team, is if you're making money at the end of the year, you're more successful than virtually every nonprofit because they're not really making any money, right? They could use your leadership. And lastly is give of your wealth. What do we mean by that? So I'll be 65 here shortly. At some point in time, I don't need to be making any more money. I need to be dispersing money. And it's very honorable, very reasonable to consider legacy giving. What will I do with the residuals when I'm done eating it? Meaning I'm no longer eating, drinking, and breathing, right? Leave some behind. And what about the younger people who say, I still got my whole life to live? Well, you do. Here's an interesting thing. As a very young person with a mindset of philanthropy and a heart of giving, you can purchase an insurance policy, $1 million whole life policy that you may pay on for the next 10, 20, 30, or 40 years for $10 or $15 a month. And at the time of your death, whether it's next Tuesday or 85 years from now, you have just left an incredible endowment to the nonprofit of your choice. So they're just interesting ways to think a little different and look just a little bit different at things. So you may be starting out small in what you're giving today. You're starting out very small by saying thank you, a small amount of time, small amount of money, small amount of your leadership, and a small monthly to an insurance policy that will set them up with an endowment forever. Pretty neat. Your gratitude, we talked about that. When you share gratitude, it encourages other people to share gratitude. And people, especially when they're working so hard in nonprofit, we would universally agree that everyone who is working in a nonprofit could make more money than they're presently making in the nonprofit, yet they do it for a special calling. And a piece of that is expressing gratitude and thanks and recognition to them. Give of your time. Volunteer to charity, in the community, in your office, have a bake sale, do anything to express to others that you have a mindset of philanthropy, of giving, of caring, of love, and you want to share it with them. And I'll show you some more ways to do that. Give of your money. Create a Say Yes fund. I'm going to draw you a drawing on that in just a little bit. Say yes and make it automatic. What do I mean by automatic? Monthly giving. It may be $5 a month, $50 a month, $500 a month, $5,000 a month. When you set it up, almost like you would any other subscription, right? You set it up, I'm going to give $20 a month to WJCT. That's what I'm going to do, and they're going to get it every month. Why is it so important? It's important for several reasons. One, you will never miss the money. You will never miss the money. It just goes before you've ever seen it, right? They hit your credit card, and you get the points every single month, and it's there. Here's what it does for the nonprofit. So many nonprofits rely on 1 or 2 or 3 signature events every year. They're big fundraisers, right? Well, what happens is we get in a scenario, and the most dramatic example in the last 100 years is the COVID-19. Event after event after event after fundraising event has been canceled or postponed or dramatically reduced. There are nonprofits that are on the verge of no longer being nonprofits, of being completely insolvent and being gone, which means all of the people they served. And I divide the nonprofits into 3 categories. They all begin with P. Pets, people, and the planet, meaning something about animals, something about the humans, or something about the earth and the buildings and whatnot. Some of these they're just going to evaporate. One, because they were poorly run, back to the leadership position, and also things have just changed. The things they've relied on for decades have changed. By it being automatic, that levels their funding. It levels their funding where they can weather these things. The nonprofits that are going to not only survive but thrive in this difficult time are those that were well endowed. That goes back to wealth giving, and those that had automatic contributions. You see it all the time on the news, right? On the news, on the television, what? St. Jude's, $19 a month, and this thing and that thing and the other thing. Monthly. I cannot encourage you more. The monthly is so important. I'll tell you something from the heart. I have a number of things that I'll share with you that my wife and I do on a monthly basis. When the COVID-19 began, we looked very hard at our business spending. We looked very hard at our personal spending. And Tanya asked me the honest question, should we shut those things down? And in the rawest of financial sense, it was easy to justify, to say, yeah, you know what? We need those dollars. We need to safe harbor those for us personally, because we don't know what could happen. And we made the decision collectively not to do that, and just said, you know what? We're going to be fine. We're going to push through this. We're going to do the right thing. It's these organizations and the people they serve will be in a desperate fight if folks like me and folks like you shut off the automatic giving, and we chose not to. We have seen very, very little impact on our business, and I've seen, very honestly, no impact in my personal life with the challenges that are going on in COVID-19. Where my mind is, that mindset of abundance, that mindset of giving, of saying, no, I'm going to hold that giving to the nonprofits as sacrosanct. We have a lot of places we could cut before we ever had to do that, and we didn't have to do it. So make it automatic. Next is matching funds by leveraging your dollars. This is very, very powerful. Whether you do this as a business or you do this as a nonprofit, it's very easy in the company to say, you know, if each individual in the company will donate $100 toward Best Buddies, or any individual who does, we never do anything for us. Any individual who would donate $100 to Best Buddy, we're going to match that. We've suddenly, boom, it gets very, very large. I will share a mistake I made personally, individually, right after coming back and getting excited about match funds. I said it backwards. I may have just said it backwards to you. Anyway, I said to a group, it was actually a group of guys smoking cigars. I said, hey, anybody donates this amount of money, I'll match it. Well, what I meant was I had 100 if they had 100, but there was a group of them and they all had 100, and I ended up donating more money than I had budgeted. So if you go to do the matching thing, which I highly encourage you to do, say it this way: I've got 100 or 10 or 5 or 1,000, doesn't matter the number. I've got $100 and it's going to Rethreaded. Who will match me? Do that so you can control the outcome, okay? A similar thing that we're seeing a lot of the large weavers do this quite often is they say, we'll donate $500,000 in matching. When you get to $500,000, we'll bring in the other $500,000. It's another very powerful way. My budget does not say $500,000, but my budget does say some smaller numbers, but it's a way to cause way more money to flow to a positive place by example and by leveraging. So very powerful. Give your leadership. I shared this with you. Your business acumen, the very fact that you are in business, says you're better off than most people running the nonprofits and many of the volunteers in nonprofits who bring really, really big hearts and really, really small business brains. Help them to be better. And don't criticize their business practices. Rather, help them make them just a little bit better. Lend your influence to other causes. Please do that. You know, many people, and I'll draw this for you in a bit, many people think, well, I give to the Cancer Society. How could I even consider giving to the diabetes? I will show you some ways of how to leverage those relationships so that more money swirls to good around more things that are important to you and more important to your sphere than if you ignored it. Give of your wealth. We talked about that. And turn your employees into evangelists. If you have people in your team, in your office, in your company, you know, they come in all different sizes, teach this. I'm going to show you how to teach this and get other people involved. It's wonderful for team building. It's wonderful to give a person a little bit more meaning to their work, a little bit more meaning to their income. It's a great thing. I love this model, the Bill Gates model. I'm going to share it with you as it was shared by Bill Gates, not with me personally. I do think with Jay personally, though. As Jay shared it, and I want to show you my little twist on it. So I didn't modify Jay's material, rather I added to it. So Bill Gates, the Gates Foundation, billions and billions of dollars, he and Melinda, that they put into their foundation. And the question became, you have strange problems when you're a billionaire, like how do you spend it all? And they were faced with that. So they built this model and said 50% of it is going to their one thing, to quote Gary and Jay, the one thing. And for the Gates Foundation, it turns out that's vaccines. That's, forget all the political ramifications. They chose that one thing. So half of that went there, okay? And then a quarter to their one most important charity and everything to everybody else. I want to show you how I modified this. It works fantastic for those of us who do not have billion-dollar foundations. So I want you to imagine, let's make sure you got this. That circle represents your philanthropic budget. And I want to start with a number that's very easy to work with and a number that's not beyond, frankly, any of you. Because one, I can see who many of you are. And I know this is an easy number. And I'm also going to do rounding when I do this for you. You know, I'm an old Navy pilot. I do math in my head. I do it very, very quick. I do business math. I do every kind of math in my head. It requires rounding. So I'm going to do this rapidly using rounding. And for anybody who is a math teacher or sitting with a calculator, go, wow, that's not right. You missed a decimal point. I know that. I'm here to make a point. I want you to imagine that your budget was $1,000 per year. $1,000 per year for this simple thing, all right? Let's also imagine that that $1,000 a year was about $100 a month. I know that it's less than that. So basically, we're talking about a cup of coffee a day if you're a Starbucks kind of guy, which I'm not. But anyway, it's not a lot of money. You know, it's $3 a day. So I want you to imagine this budget is $3 a day. You have $1,000 a year. See, we took it down to bite-sized pieces. I sound like a real estate agent trying to sell a $500,000 house. It's only $2,500 a month. Geez, right? You do it. Why can't I? All right. So I want you to cut that in half. And over here is your one thing. Okay? That's the thing that's most important to you. Doesn't matter what it is, right? It could be something about people, something about pets, something about property or the planet. It's okay. It's your one thing. For me, it's Best Buddies. All right? I'm a Best Buddies fan. I chair their advisory board. I've been to their national leadership conference. I've spoken at their national conferences. I'm a Best Buddies guy. That's my number one thing. So for this example, that means they're getting $500. Okay? We talked about automatic giving. So what does that mean? It means we want it to happen automatically. So let's make believe, I know we're rounding again, but if we do enough rounding, it'll come out just right. So it gets $50 a month every month. Never miss it, don't matter. It's well within the budget. Good. Now, over here, we've got these two more quadrants. And each of those, for this purpose, has $250 in it. You with me? Thank you for allowing me to do rounding. I can't do anything if I don't do rounding. So I got $250. In this quadrant, the upper left part of the circle got a little bit reflection on that, and I can't quite get it off. I want you to imagine that I divide that into fives. So there's $50 to my next five things, all right? And for me, I've got WJCT, I've got Rethreaded, I've got Wounded Warriors, I've got what I've got over there. Each of those is going to get $50. If I put it on automatic, that means $5 a month. They can count on that till the end of time. It's just there, right? Automatic till the end of time, it's going there. Here, automatic till the end of time, it's going there. Over here is that my just say yes. What the heck is the just say yes? You get and I get asked by somebody every single week. Hey, Wally, they're raising money for Girl Scouts. They're raising this, they're doing that. Everybody approaches you and asks for something, right? And you want to be in a position to say yes. Well, let's imagine that happens once a week and your say yes is $5. Yes. And me, all I do when somebody says, hey, can you support such and such? I'm like, yes, absolutely. I'd love to. That sounds like a beautiful cause. Can you send me the link so I can donate? They say yes. I say yes. There goes the money. Now, the beauty of saying yes is it creates reciprocity. What does that mean? I said yes to them, and when I'm asking, they have a very high probability through reciprocity of saying yes to me. Here's where it gets powerful. So for the purposes of this discussion, I'm playing at $1,000 and my yes is $5. Let's imagine you or your company is playing at $10,000 and yes is $50. Or there are many companies in town playing at 100 or playing at $1 million. And I've created reciprocity. It's not a quid pro quo. It's not, I gave you $5, you got to give me $5, right? It's, I said yes to you, and this is what yes means in my business and my family at the level that we're able to play. When you share this, when you teach this, when you embody this, what you'll discover is you're getting more and more and more for your one thing than you ever dreamed possible, more and more and more for your 5 next most important things, and also you're showering the community with yeses and bringing all those relationships back in. It's powerful and it's fun. And I will share with you also, you meet a different group of people when you put on your philanthropic hat. It doesn't mean, oh, I met all the wealthy people. It means I met people who have better hearts. I met nicer people. I met people I love doing business with and who love doing business with me. Philanthropy is a fantastic tiebreaker in a world where people have boundless choice of who they do business with and where they do business. And when they see and feel that that business and you, that individual within the business, have a mindset of philanthropy, and yes, you want to earn more. Yes, you want to be able to do more things individually for your family, for your company. And yes, they can see and feel the build that you're doing in your community with the pieces of the profit from your business. So your profit becomes that nonprofit, a benefit to the nonprofit. That, to me, is immensely powerful. Some of us have been in a position to create a foundation. I know numerous companies in the area that have done that. They're not all giant companies. They're just people who have said, you know what, I got a little bit extra and I want to gain control of it. If you're interested in starting a foundation and you're not sure if you have the wherewithal, you can reach out to me individually. I'll get you in contact with folks. It won't cost you a dime. And say, well, I didn't know I can do that. One of the great examples in history of building a foundation and sharing was Paul Newman, who made these really nice, salad dressings. And people said, Paul, these are awesome. You should sell those. And Paul Newman, who has since, passed away, said he didn't need any more money. He didn't want to start any more businesses, but he would share the recipes and they would build Newman's own salads, which has raised tens of millions of dollars. It continues to do so every year, even though the man's been dead for about a decade. So it's very interesting how you can creatively set things up. So how do you take this to the next level? How do we go from, hey, well, this is pretty neat. I hadn't thought about it this way. Thank you so much for bringing me Jay's message. How do we take this to the next level? How do you do it? By educating, by sharing this exact model, just as simple as drawing that diagram with other people, by educating people, by getting comfortable with asking people, how can I help? How can I be involved? Asking, would you help me to build a ramp or whatever's on your mind, right? Motivating others to do it. The matching, we've talked about matching. Matching is so powerful, and promoting. I'm very, very fortunate in that I have a bit of a bully pulpit. That's why you're here with me today. I have my radio activities, my TV activities. I would love to have you on the show with me, and I'll make you this promise. When this is interesting because we're doing this live on Zoom. We're doing this live on Facebook Live. It's also being recorded for distribution through YouTube and a lot of other channels. So some of you, I know exactly who you are, and I'm going to send you a couple of things. I'm going to send you these slides so you can teach to them, speak to them, and use them. I'm also going to send you an invitation to a conversation with me. We'll do that as a one-on-one Zoom in preparation to do a one-on-one interview with you that we'll distribute and broadcast. And what that conversation will be about is helping you sort or having me understand what's most important to you in the philanthropic world, what's your cause. And once I have a clear understanding of that, I'll invite you into the studio, candidly, depending on when that is. We're still doing the studio interviews remote, but I'll invite you for an interview, remote or studio, to help you after I have explained to you, if you need it, taught you how to do that, how to demonstrate to the community what you're individually about, what your business is about, and the way that you're giving back to the community and how you're soliciting more support. I will fund all of that. I will do all of that with you and for you. Some of you have seen some of the things we've done, and trust me on this, you will do it different than I do. And that's why it works. It is bringing out who you are and why something is important to you and what you want people to do with you to help in the community. I'm very, very good at helping you do that. I will fund that. I will distribute that. We'll do that together. Really looking forward to promoting with you. All right. Jay went on to tell me, and this is what's resonated, this particular program, this is probably close to the 50th time I've done it. But it says the amount of money we will give is insignificant compared to the amount that could be given by teaching others to give too. Yes, I have personally been involved in over $1 million in fundraising since I started on this little bit of journey. I can tell you, if I give the rest of my life, it's unlikely I'll hit $1 million in giving. I hope to. It's actually a goal. We'll find out. But the point of it is the leverage that you each hold in your community. I know what you do professionally. I know who and how you are personally. When we just add this little piece to it, what you'll discover, your personal life is enriched, your professional life will grow, and you'll have this whole new family of friends and wonderful people around you who you are helping, who are helping you help others. It's beautiful. The giving challenge. What would happen if every agent in your office, for those of you, and it represents the majority, quite frankly, who are with me right now, are real estate agents? What would happen if every agent in your office, in your company, in our community gave a little bit from each closing? I can tell you there were 30,000 real estate closings in our local board, the Northeast Florida board, 30,000 closings last year. Could everybody have afforded $10? Yeah, that's 300,000. No, it's not. It's 600,000 because there was two sides. That's $600,000 just from real estate agents distributed in the community. What if it was $100 a pop? $6 million. Is that asking too much? I don't know. It's an individual decision. For some, it might be $1. For some, it could be 1,000. I know of agents who give virtually everything back. Some of these are formalized programs. Homes for Heroes would be one. There are many examples. It's getting the mind. I'm not advocating for any particular charity for you or any particular percentage or amount or modality. What I'm advocating for is to have the conversation, and you and I can have that together. You may have this with a spouse, you may have this within your office, and say, you know what? I'm certain we can do more. And I'm also certain that when we do more, we're going to have more. It's beautiful. Questions, ideas, thoughts? I'm going to open the Q&A section, and I'm also going to stop the screen share so I was going to say so I can see you better. That didn't make any sense at all. So you can see me better. All right. So given that I see no questions, let me say this. Should you get a question, a couple things. One, every one of you who registered to be here and every one of you here who liked, commented, or shared with your contact information, I'll reach out to you and send you some things. That's great. Email would be easiest, very honestly. If you just leave your email, I'll send you the invite to do a one-on-one Zoom with me. You're very welcome to say yes, and I understand if you say no. Also in there, I will then, as a follow-up to that, after the Zoom, send you the invite to do the studio interview to help you promote your activity with your nonprofit and help you raise money. If I can help you in any way, reach out. I respect you. I appreciate you. I'm truly grateful that you took 38 minutes out of your life to spend with me. Thank you for that. And that I know you are considering becoming a philanthropist, and we're growing that journey together. So thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.